Hello and welcome to my new video and a new style of video because maybe from you can't really tell from the content at the minute, but I am a massive F1 fan. Didn't realise if I was going to come back to it after what happened last season at the end, and well, just in the season in general. I just didn't agree with a lot of things what went off, so I wasn't with an RM, but here we are. We're back, and I'm doing a kind of review, kind of weird. I don't know what we're going to call it, but a review of what I saw in the race, basically, and my little opinion of it. So, first off, Q3. Very close. Maybe not. Other than Ferrari and Red Bull, it wasn't as close as we thought it would be. You know, George making a mistake, coming ninth. You had the McLarens, unfortunately, at the back with the Aston Martins, and it was a really good qualifying, and it showed us a rough shake-up because I don't think it's going to be the same for every single track. I think this year is definitely going to be track-based on... Don't get me wrong, I think Red Bull and Ferrari are going to be up there, but for the rest of the grid, I think it'll be track-based, essentially. That's what I'm trying to get at. But we had the start of the race, and it was alright. You know, Hamilton got past Perez. It was a alright move, you know. He said he wanted to be more aggressive. He's proven that he's been more aggressive. So let's hope that continues. Let's hope so we see a more aggressive Hamilton, because last year he was rather passive. He let Max drag him off the track a few times, especially in first lap. He let him barge his way through. So new Hamilton with maybe the starts. Let's see if it continues. We also had Ocon hitting Mick Schumacher around. Admittedly, Ocon was definitely at fault for that, and he even ran over to apologise to him at the end. About the only collision we saw in the entire race, from what I can remember anyway. I didn't see any more collisions. And then Bottas losing 8 positions. I didn't really get to see what happened there. It showed a rough on camera, but it didn't show how he actually lost them all. So that was lap 1. And then we hear Max come across for the first time on the radio on lap 4 about his engine not sounding right. Like, he did give Red Bull warning, but Red Bull didn't really give him much on that moment in time. They just, I don't really think we heard anything back, actually. But that's the start of the Max Verstappen engine issues. From what he said was lap 4. Lap 10, Perez passes Hamilton back. It was quite a nice, easy move. Obviously, it took Perez a few laps to get into the race. He nearly got overtaken by Magnussen at the start as well. So he didn't have the best of starts, but he brought it back. He went back up to P4. And then, to me, the most exciting action of the race happens. Max versus Charles from lap 17 to 19. I mean, Max had him on the straight, but what Charles was saying, he was braking very early to let him past so he could get the DRS and the better drive out of the next corner to pass him straight back. Very intelligent for Charles. He seems like in the last year or so where he hasn't been competing, he's matured, and that's something I think he kind of needed. Well, he didn't really need it. When Ferrari was able to win, he was getting the win, so he didn't really need it, but it's better that he's matured. And then Max made that horrible lockup, what I think just ruined that stint entirely for him. The next stops happen, and basically Leclerc comes back out in front of Max again, but Max threw his toys well and truly out of the pram. We've got to remember, this is race 1, and he's shouting at the team, "I'm never listening to you guys again." Get over it. Like, it's race 1. You're clearly feeling the pressure of being a real champion straight away. Don't get me wrong, there was a lot going wrong with that car. But clearly, it wasn't worth shouting at your team, telling them you're never listening to them again on race 1. Yeah, just not very good from Max. And obviously, for team morale-wise, telling them that you're not going to listen to them doesn't sound great, does it? Something what kept happening during the race, and there was a very prolonged period of this though, the timing screens just disappeared for a good 2 to 3 laps. Like, I remember I saw a McLaren pass a Aston Martin, didn't have a clue which one because the timing screens didn't move, and I've still not got used to who's got the the yellow on the top of the cars yet, and who hasn't. So, had no clue who overtook who. Timing screens. It wasn't just here, it was also disappeared in F2. It had was it F3? One of the lower categories. It just had an absolute mare and was just swapping and changing every positions every half second. Timing screens definitely still need fixing. Then we have Max pitting. What we got us all excited. We thought, 3 stops. He's going to try and do it where he pushes for many laps, and towards the end we'll get a showdown. Nope. Didn't happen. Gasly's MG UK failed, set his car on fire. He then jumped out, and that was that. It was safety car. Everyone got a free pit stop, so Max stayed in his position, but Leclerc, if it was only a virtual safety car, would have been miles ahead. Well, obviously, for the fact that they couldn't recover that car quick enough, well, very quick at all, they had to throw an actual safety car. And I guess I say new ruling, it's been the same ruling since the start, other than Abu Dhabi. We let all the lapped cars through, not just, a few. Can't tell I'm a bit. And then from here, well, actually, just before that, we heard about Max's steering issues. Now, Horner thinks it's from the pit stop. Obviously, these wheels are a lot heavier, so I'm wondering if it's possible to break a tie rod or damage a tie rod by how heavy they are during a pit stop. But it only seemed to affect Red Bull, so maybe it's just something they needed work on in their pit stops. But Max having more issues. He mentioned the engine at the start. They had brake issues throughout of it overheating, even though they've got these nice fancy new brake ducts. Clearly too fancy because they can't cool the brakes good enough in a race. And then Max's engine cuts out. So, obviously, I believe he was fighting Sainz at the time, and Sainz was going, I'm getting closer. He's shouting, engine. And it just cuts out. He manages to get it back to the pits, but it doesn't stop there. So, not only does Max's engine have an issue, then Perez, out of nowhere, has an issue. He starts slowing. Well, actually, no, but he didn't start slowing. He goes into turn 1, and his engine just turns off, his rear wheels lock up, and that's his race over on the final lap. Out of nowhere it was. Red Bull 2-4, both DNF within 3 laps. Terrible for them, but hey-ho, these things happen. And then, obviously, we have a Ferrari 1-2 as a finish. They're back at it. What I cry as a McLaren fan, because I won't lie, I wish it was us, but Ferrari back at it, 1-2s. Mercedes happy with a 3-4, with Toto coming out with quotes of, what was it? He said something like, we put the hard tyres on, and it's like putting a hand down the toilet. Doesn't sound great from them at the minute. So, overall, very exciting. Obviously, I'm hoping for a bit better for my side of McLaren and Hamilton next time around, but Mercedes say these issues aren't going to go away, and well, it's quite clear McLaren have a lot to work on, and Jeddah's only a week away. So until then, I hopefully will do another review video of Jeddah. So until then, no more reviews. Back to your normal scheduled Football Manager and random shiznot. Goodbye!